Welcome to one of the most exciting projects we've ever done as Trackspeed. This is our GT7 M2 that we did together with our friends from Vulcan Alpha. They are responsible for the aero kit, this very cool wing and splitter that you see here. It's done by them, and it also has one of the first sets of all-in TTX dampers in the world. It has big wide apex wheels and 305 tires, and it has a little bit of everything. It is our own special recipe, and when it comes to suspension, we have done almost everything that is possible to do in the world of aftermarket for the G series platform. It's for us a test bed, and it's also like a way to see how you can extract the most out of a car that is already very, very fast on a straight line. I think already from last year, when I drove the car for the first time, I actually begged the guys at Trackspeed to do like a special version, a club sport version, and this car is exactly that. It basically fixes everything we learned from the previous year. There are things that we absolutely love about this BMW platform, and there is things that we don't like so much, so we took all these small elements and we addressed them. I think number one thing would be deciding what wheels and tires, because what this chassis needed, it needed more tire, more grip. And we did this together with Nankang. We have 305 tires, CRSs that we love them. And Apex came with the wheels. These are basically 19-inch wheels, very wide. We're going to talk about this later in the video, but basically that's that. And then we were very lucky to work with a very cool brand like All-Ins. All-Ins is basically down the road here, like we're in the industry park in Moispath, and their headquarters is like literally a few buildings back. And they're great people and they make a fantastic product. So when they told us they have a TTX kit coming from the G series, we said, okay, we want one of them. And they sent to us one of the first kits. We actually have been testing this for months already. This car went to Greece and did winter testing, and the suspension is like amazing. I would say what makes the most difference in this car is probably the suspension work. And not just that, we worked with our friend Emerson at Engage. He did all the custom arms. There is like pillow ball mounts. There is some millway parts, like it has top mounts in the front. It has like everything. We're gonna discuss about this more in the workshop, but basically whatever you can do on a G series, we have done in this car. And then it came the time for the aero.
Hi guys, my name is Misha. Welcome to Vulcan Alpha, our little engineering dream team near the Nürburgring in the middle of the green hell. Myself and my dear friend and business partner Lapo Korinic, we specialize in the aerodynamic enhancements of various vehicles. And the story behind this is actually quite fun. About 3 years ago, Lapo came to me with his Opel Speedster. Back then he was still a student, and I drove the car on the Nürburgring. I was completely blown away by it because the amount of downforce that the car was generating, it was mind-blowing. It was something that he just made in his backyard. Back then, he needed to have an internship. That video of mine got over 1 million views in about 2 days' time. He got various offers. He ended up having an internship at Ferrari. He ended up eventually working at Ferrari. And then last year, we said, actually for the last 3 years, I said, you know, you should do something of your own. And if you decide to do it, I would love to be a part of it. And last year we decided to start Vulcan Alpha to actually be able to bring his mastermind aerodynamic enhancement ideas to the masses here at the Nürburgring.
Hello everyone, my name is Lapo Korinic. Today we have the GT7 M2 from Trackspeed. We're going to use this car as a development car to create our bespoke aerodynamic kit, which consists in a rear wing and front splitter. We have put dots on the car and scanning spray, and we are in the initial starting procedure with the free scan combo from Shining to scan the car. Coming from the rear, we just took the panels out. So as you can see, you have the front ones and the two cooler panels at the side, and we can have a look at what we are working with. Here we have the skid plate, something that's structural to the integrity of the car. It connects all the main chassis points and strengthens everything while also protecting from hits, bumps, rash of the road. So this is not going to be removed. So our splitter is going to start basically from the axle length. use some of the already made attachment points, then tie up to the front cross members, bumper supports, whatever you want to call them, and tie up like this and go down and attach the splitter that's gonna come all the way up to the front, smooth all the airflow while keeping the cutout for the cooler here, and have a modular system that can be replaced at the front. So when you scrape or you jump and bump on something, if you break something, you can replace it and don't worry about changing the whole thing. Okay, let's start this small introduction to the GT7 kit by showing you virtually what we did after scanning the car. So for the G87 we have newly designed uprights, which you can see right here. These are CNC'd from a single piece of aluminum. As always, we use 7075T6, one of the best aluminum alloys to use for this application. The wing is quite wide because this is the track version, so it is almost as wide as the hips. Let me put it into orthographic view. So you see it's almost as wide. But you see here there's a line. This is only for Germany and Europe in general. You need to stay inside of the silhouette of the car. So you can take off the extension and bolt up another set of end plates, and you can see the wing stays inside the front silhouette of the car. So it's street legal for German TÜV. So you take off the extensions, put on the TÜV end plates, and this is specifically for whoever is a Nürburgring driver, so they want to get into TF sessions. This version gives you the ability to do that. But if you don't care about that, you can just stick on the extensions and rock the full width. To match the rear, we also designed a modular front splitter. And this configuration is fully extended. You can order it as a one-piece design, 30 millimeters, which is for European and TÜV regulations, or you can spec it all the way to 150 millimeters. But if you want the benefit of both worlds, you can have the 30 millimeters, or you can take off wear pads and put the extension on. Here at the bottom you have the vent for the oil cooler. Here you have the main chassis mounting spots. These other holes are all M6 for M6 harder to mount the chin extension.
Crimson chin.
So you take off the extension, and if you want to go on the street, you can put the wear pads. So now let's go to show you how we are preparing to making the first iteration for Trackspeed. So we have here our Big Rep 3D printer, which we utilize daily to create mockups and other stuff. In this case, we have 1/2 of the plug for G87 that we have 3D printed. It's one piece. It still needs some body work, but then from this part we can take a mold. From the mold, take the top part of the splitter. I'll bring you to the CNC and I'll show you the other half. Here we are. Here you see the full extension of the splitter. This part here will basically go underneath this, and you can see it as this. This is the bottom part of the splitter. Of course, this is very thick because it needs to be sturdy. You need to think that the actual top piece is 3 mil, and then they're both going to be glued together. Note, the foam is only the core of the splitter. The actual splitter is going to be carbon fiber, foam core, and then carbon fiber. The foam is meant to give strength to the splitter without compromising weight. Because yes, of course, you can make a splitter with only carbon fibers this thick, but the problem is it's going to be very, very heavy and not very efficient. So this makes the piece very, very sturdy and lightweight. But how do we go from this to this piece right here? which you'll see briefly, is carved out by our 3-axis Mechanica CNC machine. This is a piece of raw PVC foam. This is a special version of it because it's meant for carbon fiber infusion. You see all these ridges and these holes. It's perforated because this helps the vacuum bag that will compress the carbon and the mold to A, take all the air out, but B, also impregnate the foam and the carbon fiber with resin, which is a matrix that keeps everything together. By having a CNC, we can create complex structures and not limit the complexity of our designs. We have our stock, which is the foam, and we have this boring operation, second boring operation, pocket, which is the step that you see, contour. While I go, you see there's less and less material. Then we have this pocket right here, and then the last operation is the holes. We are going to do these 4 operations first with an 8mm flat end mill, 3-flue, and then last 2 operations will be done with a 6mm bolt end, just because for the surface and these holes I want to go with a smaller bit. You can also do it with this, but it doesn't get as clean as a finish of as a bolt end. So this is going to be our roughing bit, and this is going to be our finishing pass for some features. I'm sure there is faster ways to CNC this piece. For everything I do, I prefer reliability than having something take 5 minutes less. Also because we are not a high volume company, we have bespoke parts and I don't want to have something go wrong. So yes, there's some path optimization, some different speeds and some different depths, but I prefer taking, as I said before, 5 more minutes to finish the part, but having it reliable. Now we can do this, and it should
Press play.
start. Coming from the splitter, we go now to the wing, which is, let's say, the other portion of the kit for GT7. The wing, as you might see, is slightly different than the F-Series that we developed earlier this year. This is because one main point is styling, so the GT7 has completely different body lines and completely different design language than the F-Series, so the uprights need to represent that different style change. You might notice the uprights are closer together. This because, as I said before, these go together with the body lines on the roof. Also, the wing is a 3-piece element, which is for TÜV regulation. So basically, how it works, you have your main element, which is TÜV approved until this line here. Then when you go on track and you want to have more downforce, you bolt in the extensions, and those help with creating more downforce and making the wing more efficient. To make everything very sturdy, because the wing actually creates a lot of downforce, we need to reinforce the boot. Some might say, why don't you mount the wing on the chassis? A, because it's going to create problems with the opening of the boot. B, when you have load on the boot, you have more surface area than just on mounts. Of course, mounts on the chassis will be better, but when you have compression, the seal compresses and the actual boot, if it's reinforced, can transmit all the load that you want. To reinforce the boot so it doesn't distort the sheet metal, we created these inserts that need to be glued in. This area here and this area here, you can install it with adhesive, but also you need to install them with some bolts. How does it work? You have your upright that goes outside, of course, of the boot. This, where these holes connects to the center of the upright. And basically this helps to increase surface area on the sheet metal, but also to transmit the forces that the wing creates through the boot to other parts of the boot, so nothing gets distorted.
Welcome to Autosport International. We had fantastic time. We had 4 days here at the fair. As you can see, we've done lots of R&D, namely I can stand with my off-season 102 kilograms of pancakes and everything. So you'll be able to try out the front splitter and of course also the wing on Trackspeed's G87. We'll be having a lot more fun this year because you've seen what we've been doing together with Trackspeed last season, and this one is going to be even more epic, 100%.
And that is one of the most interesting parts, because we ran almost parallel roads with our friends from Vulcan Alpha. They started almost at the same time that we started Trackspeed, and when we knew that they could design and fabricate everything in-house, we of course said, like, guys, we want to do this project with you. This car is going to be exactly like that. It's going to be used both on the track and on the road. We want it to be like the perfect club sport car. And this is a little bit the mentality behind all our Trackday Special builds. There's going to be cars that are good for the road, good for the TF, and of course very fast on the track. But it's not just about lap times, it's all about driver engagement and feel. So we want these cars to feel special. We have 1 or 2 more in the oven, so they're getting cooked as we speak. That's that. Let's go to the Trackspeed workshop that we're going to see the car apart, and we're going to discuss about what actually makes this beautiful thing a car.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our workshop here at the Nürburgring, only 2 kilometers from the track entrance. Most of you recognize the place from previous videos from 2024 season. And behind us, you can see our latest project from the Trackday Special series of cars that we will launch in 2025. This series is one of the platforms that we invest this year, and we truly believe it can transform. Here at Trackspeed, our experience with fast BMWs goes back to the E46, so our fleet consists from E46, E92, F series, and now the G series. What all these cars have in common, for their time of course, they were heavier than the competition. They had problems mid-corner and in the exit of the corner. But one of their biggest advantages is that the moment you change some suspension parts or remove some weight, the car completely transforms and the experience gets much, much better. This is how we started to improve the handling of the car. One of the first and essential parts was the suspension. For this special occasion, we partnered with Öhlins and we installed in the car the first ever in the world TTX that was produced for this platform. This gives us the insight on Öhlins and how they do stuff, and they showcase us the advantages of the TTX suspension, which we actually saw while testing. One of the main characteristics of the TTX system is the 4-way adjustable unit. So this gives us one adjustment on the fast, one adjustment on the slow for the rebound, and one adjustment for the fast and the slow bump. This features also an external reservoir. On the front suspension, you can see that is obvious, but here it's down here. We experienced and we believe that most of the users of the car will feel the complete different approach that this suspension has around the bumps in Nordschleife, the curbs, and all the challenging surfaces that one can face while driving the Nordschleife. Another characteristic of the suspension is the linear springs that you can use compared to the stock ones, and the helper spring. Of course, there are different combinations that you can try and experiment with and get the absolute effect out of your suspension system. We also should mention that Öhlins are able to revolve these suspensions and take it also to the next level for you, for the experienced guy that wants extra out of the suspension, and can give them exactly the description of what the car does, and they're working close with the customers and they can help you revolve the suspension in any way you like. In the same way, while we were testing, we saw that the car was moving a lot during the exit and it had some issues caused by the bushings that were actually not contributing enough to the communication between the driver and the car. So our friends from Racing Use Only, they provided a Kinematics kit that changed a lot the experience. This is one of the bushings we discussed earlier, and this completely changes the experience because we changed it to a spherical bushing, so all the rubber is out of the car and it makes the whole experience more direct, so the driver has better information of what the car does. This is the rear suspension and toy arm links. This replaces that arm. As you can see here, we have spherical bushings and we eliminate actually the rubber through here. This part also gives us a lot of adjustability and it actually slightly widens the rear, so it makes it a bit more stable. And for the fast drivers out there, it gives a lot of confidence and safety to push the car to the limit because they have more information and more clarity of what the car is doing while on the limit. Having said that about the experience, nothing would be the same without the Vulcan Alpha kit. The aero kit from the guys, they did an incredible job because while testing, we did some laps without the wing, without the splitter, both on the car, both off the car, and the data is incredible. We've seen the lap times drop, but most importantly, the car is more stable under braking and while exiting the corner. The thing also that was undeniable was the difference between the kilometers the car could carry mid-corner. All in all, the target was achieved. The car feels more complete, it feels more stable, it gives you the confidence to push, and at the same time, you feel safe enough and the car feels a lot more solid as a complete package.
So this is basically what 8 months of work look like, from the first day that we 3D scanned the car to creating prototypes to installing all these cool parts and of course testing. First track day of the year with Misha behind the wheel. Impressions?
Nothing but positives. I mean, as you said, we had 8 months of development and the anticipation was quite high, especially when you have your own products on the car. Of course, we have lots of trust in our own engineering, but things can go wrong. Sometimes you might have too much downforce on the rear, too little on the front. But in this case, everything was perfectly balanced from the start, and I was really blown away by it. The amount of downforce this thing generates is more than our GT4 race car, the M4 GT4, close to GT3 levels, you're just missing diffuser and flat bottom. But more importantly, the overall mechanical grip is phenomenal. All the suspension work, braking, it makes it handle like a true race car, minus the full slicks, and it's a perfectly balanced car. Is there anything more to wish for? Maybe a bit more power?
But that is probably in one of the next episodes. We, exactly from our side, we thought, what do we want to change in the stock car? And we addressed, I think, almost everything. More grip, less body roll, and of course, an aero package that is balanced. Exactly, as Misha said, like, it is very easy to put like a big wing in the back of a car, but to create a package that works like in a uniform way on track, it requires a lot of time in CFD, and then real-world testing, which is what we were actually excited about doing. A lot of hours in this car, and a lot more to come, because this is not the end of the journey. So a lot of cool things coming.
I'm sure more power, and after that, I see you have plenty of other cars that we can work on.
He's basically saying that maybe 992 GT3 coming. But yeah, so stay tuned. There's going to be much more of this car. And don't forget that you can actually come and drive that same thing, see what is all this fuss is all about, what is how this car is compared to a stock car, which is something that many people ask. We have a stock M2, we have this, you can drive them back to back, and you'll see that the difference is quite big. But for now, go watch that full lap I heard it's quite epic, and we're going to be back with more build stuff in our workshop.
And a bit more laps after more seat time.